The 36-year-old man remains in custody, and an RCMP corporal continues to fight for his life in hospital after he was shot early yesterday morning in Kamloops. Corporal Jean-René Michaud was badly hurt while making a routine traffic stop in a residential neighborhood. The father of two has 13 years of experience on the force. He's now in critical but stable condition after undergoing surgery. The suspect was arrested following a 13-hour manhunt. He was not injured when taken into custody, and BC's police watchdog is now investigating.
We have members from our serious crime unit, from our district major crimes unit that are in attendance. So we're putting a full complement of resources behind solving this matter.
Witnesses reported hearing up to 10 shots fired in the Bachelor Heights neighborhood of Kamloops. A second officer fired back at the suspect before the car sped away from the scene. The suspect's name has not yet been released, and so far, no charges have been laid. We've had road safety warnings from police, but now we're hearing from the BC Coroner Service. It's concerned about an increase of pedestrian accidents. The coroner is urging extra caution after the deaths of 5 elderly pedestrians over 11 days. In 4 of the accidents, the drivers were making left-hand turns. 3 of them happened in the Lower Mainland in Vancouver, Surrey, and New Westminster. The coroner urges pedestrians to increase visibility by wearing brighter reflective clothing and to make eye contact with drivers, even hold up your hand, even if you have a green light. Here in Vancouver, police are investigating a death at a private gym and bathhouse. A man's body was found at Steamworks on Pender, which was promptly shut down. The death is being treated as suspicious, but foul play has not been confirmed. Abbotsford police want to hear from anyone who knows this man. He is the suspect in a sexual assault at Mill Lake Park last month. The victim was able to get away, but not before she was grabbed, groped, and hit. The suspect is in his 30s with dark hair, about 5'9". He was wearing track pants, white sneakers, and a dark hoodie with a circular design on the front. A number of Asian countries have imposed bans on BC poultry as the avian flu situation deepens in the Fraser Valley. For more on this, let's go to Abbotsford, where Greg Harper joins us live with more. Greg.
Good morning, Kyle. Well, 2 more farms are under quarantine this morning here in the Fraser Valley, bringing the total to 4, where operations have been shut down in an effort to stop the spread of the avian flu. Behind me is a turkey farm in Abbotsford. Here on the weekend, thousands of turkeys died suddenly as a result of the influenza. About 8 kilometers from this farm in Abbotsford is a chicken farm in Chilliwack. Just over 1,000 chickens died suddenly there as well from the avian flu. So 2 more locations have been put under quarantine, also in Abbotsford and in Chilliwack. But unlike the first 2 farms, the avian flu has not been confirmed at these locations. However, at one of the farms, there has been an unusually high number of chickens that have died. As a result of the quarantine, thousands of birds will be destroyed at these farms.
There's all kinds of speculation out there as to the migratory bird path, and we've seen a lot of waterfowl in the area. If it's an H5 and it turns out to be an H5N8, did someone carry it from the United Kingdom or the Netherlands over here? And although we haven't been able to establish any connection between the 2 farms, maybe we're missing something. It's unanswered questions at this time, but there are a lot of people looking for answers right now.
We're already being proactive and testing some farms in around these infected premises to ensure that there's no other farms. We want to be proactive, and CFIA is also in the process of setting up zones as well.
According to health officials, no human has become ill from the virus. It's actually rare for that to happen. And this is a virus that poses no risk on food products that are properly cooked. Kyle?
Greg Harper, live in Abbotsford. Greg, thanks for that. The provincial government has lowered the LNG tax rate, but despite that and the Premier's self-professed negotiation skills, a big name from overseas refuses to commit. Malaysian energy giant Petronas has deferred investment on a liquefied natural gas plant near Prince Rupert. The company says conditions in the oil market are not good enough to invest $36 billion. The decision comes despite Minister Rich Coleman paying a visit to Kuala Lumpur. It was hoped Petronas would be the first company to sign on to BC LNG before the end of the year. BC Ferries has struggled to find public support for a number of its ideas, chiefly higher fares. But passengers may embrace its latest plan if they can understand it. It's called Fare Flexibility and Digital Experience Initiative. Essentially, the Ferry Corporation wants a fare and reservation system like the airline industries. Passengers who book in advance will do so without paying a reservation fee as they do right now. And taking ferries during slow periods will mean cheaper fares.
What customers have told us is that we want the ability to actually be in control of the transaction, as opposed to BC Ferries having one price. Give us a number of options and things we can look at, and we can pick when we travel, and give us a discount for when we travel in the off-peak.
BC Ferries says it will cost $15 million to implement the changes. That includes upgrading the 25-year-old software system. If the Ferry Commissioner approves, it would not be ready until 2017. NASA is planning to launch an unmanned test flight of its new Orion spacecraft today. This is a live look right now of NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. And this has a 2-hour window to take off, and that window expires at about 6:44 Pacific time. NASA just tweeted that they've made several attempts this morning and have had some delays with the weather and with the wind. But NASA just saying that the cycling fill and drain valves have shown the core booster valve for the hydrogen tank is not showing as it should, and crews are working to resolve that problem this morning. If this gets going eventually, it's going to be used eventually to carry people to Mars in future decades with this test flight if it's successful. So we'll hopefully bring this to you live. Again, that window expires at 6:44 Pacific time this morning. The Montreal Canadiens have announced plans for the events leading up to Jean Béliveau's funeral. The former Habs captain died on Tuesday at the age of 83. Béliveau will lay in wake at Montreal's Bell Centre on Sunday and Monday, while his funeral will be held on Wednesday. The Canadiens players also wore the number 4 on their helmets during last night's game against the Minnesota Wild.
He was a special person, an icon, probably as good a term for everything he represented as anything else.
Vancouver Canucks continue their road trip in Pittsburgh today. Their matinee against the Penguins gets underway at 4 p.m. You can watch that on Sportsnet 360. Let's talk tennis. Canada's Davis Cup tennis team will return to Vancouver for its first-round World Group tie against Japan. The rematch of last year's first-round match, which Japan won 4-1, by the way, takes place from March 6th to 8th at UBC. Canada has had success at that venue in the past. The team is competing in the Elite World Group of the tennis tournament for the 4th straight year.